Hello, my name is David and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with a tag for Tag Tuesday. I'm going to be doing the Quick to Judge tag, which I was tagged in a couple weeks ago by my good friend Beth Ann. She has a wonderful channel. Be sure to go and check her out. So, this is going to be a unique and interesting one, and I chose this because, well, Thursday I've got a July TBR video coming up, and this is going to add a book onto that. So, the tag, to run down what I'm going to be doing here, is pick 5 to 10 unread books from your shelves, read the first paragraph of each book, rank the books based off the first paragraphs, add the highest ranked book to your upcoming TBR, and then invite someone else to do it. This tag was originally made by Allie at Book Binge. I'll have her link down below as well. So I'm going to start off by tagging Jack at the Rambling Racketeer, because I think that he deserves a new book to add to his TBR here soon in the near future. Congratulations on him, because he just did his own Read Every Book by Author spin, and based on his results, I feel like, congratulating him by giving him another reason to add another book onto his list. So I'll have that link down below, his channel as well. Go check him out. He's got a fantastic channel if you are not already subscribed. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to pick, I've got 10 books here. I'm going to read the first paragraph out of each. You will have to come back on Thursday to my TBR video to find out my ranking of the 10, as well as which one is going under the TBR. So I'm going to cheat a little bit because I don't want to rank them on a whim. Now I've got a good mix here. I've got some nonfiction, I've got some newer fantasy, I've got some vintage books, both in fantasy and sci-fi. So we will see what sticks from this selection. I'm just going to go in the order I have them currently stacked. So the last one I believe I chose to put on here, The Minicolored Land by Julian May. This is volume 1 in the saga of the Pliocene Exile. So, paragraph 1. So this is a prologue. To confirm that it was indeed near death, the great vessel broke through into normal space with lingering slowness. The pain of the usually swift translation was prolonged as well, until the thousand, for all their strength, cursed and wept within their minds and became convinced that they would be trapped. It would be the gray limbo endlessly. That and pain. Book number 2, Starcat World by Andre Norton and Dorothy Madlee. Now I know Andre Norton, I'm familiar with that author's name. Not familiar with Dorothy Madlee. This is going to be arguably the shortest volume that could be picked. So chapter 1, Landing on Zimmerah. A wind blew the grasses so they bowed and rustled, while overhead hung a warm sun. But the sky, it was not blue with puffs of white clouds. No, it was instead faintly green, and those grasses which rustled and bowed were very much darker green than Jim Evans had ever seen, with here and there a blade of bright yellow-brown. Topping those were 5 petaled flowers, as pale as the sky. All right, so let's mix it up here. Next, we are going to grab a nonfiction here. So we got Bosworth Field and the War of the Roses from the Wordsworth Military Library. So this is from the prologue. What was settled at the Field of Bosworth in 1485? Well, it ended a long dynastic struggle that filled so much of the 15th century with alarms and excursions, battles, feuds, and deaths of kings and princes, noble murders. The story of that century, which achieved a kind of culmination and received its quietus at Bosworth, was so dramatic that it inspired a prolific literature in prose and verse in the next century, reaching its summit with the history plays of Shakespeare, a full canvas covering it all, from the Revolution of 1399 to Bosworth. That victory ended the rule of the male line of the Plantagenets and brought in the new dynasty of the Tudors. It altered the story of England, changed the succession of its kings. That was actually much better than I would have expected going in. So, let's bring in a heavy hitter here. I am very familiar with Bernard Cornwell. This is Excalibur. It is a novel of Arthur, and I love a good Arthurian story. So part of me is secretly maybe rooting for this one to have a really good first paragraph, but we'll see. Oh, well, I'm going to do the first two because the first one is like 7 words long. Women, how they do haunt this tale. I mean, I could stop there, but when I began writing Arthur's story, I thought it would be a tale of men, a chronicle of swords and spears, of battles won and frontiers made, of ruined treaties and broken kings. For is that not how history itself is told? When we recite the genealogy of our kings, we do not name their mothers and grandmothers, but say Mordred ap Uther ap Cunistan ap Kinnar, and so on all the way back to the great Belimar, who is the father of us all. History is a story told by men and of men's making, but in this tale of Arthur, like the glimmer of salmon in peat dark water, the women do shine. It's a pretty good first chapter, if I do say so myself. Next we have Deathworld by Harry Harrison. I'm currently reading The Stainless Steel Rat and enjoying it immensely. So, let's see what Deathworld has in store for us. With a gentle sigh, the service tube dropped a message capsule into the receiving cup. The attention bell chimed once and was silent. Jason Dinalt stared at the harmless capsule as though it were a ticking bomb. Next, we will go to another nonfiction, The First Crusade, A New History by Thomas Asbridge. This one on my history bookshelf tour, which I just did, somebody left a comment that this is a great read, so I wanted to make sure to grab that and use it. So this is, I'll go with chapter 1, not the preface on this. Holy War proclaimed. A race absolutely alien to God had invaded the land of the Christians, has reduced the people with sword, rapine, and flame. These men have destroyed the altars polluted by their foul practices. They have circumcised the Christians, either spreading the blood from the circumcisions on the altars or pouring it into the baptismal fonts. And they cut open the navels of those whom they chose to torment with loathsome death, tear out the most vital organs, and tie them to a straight stake, drag them around and flog them, before killing them as they lie prone on the ground with all their entrails out. What shall I say of the appalling violation of women, of which it is more evil to speak than to keep silent? I'm not sure I've had a weak selection yet. Next we have The Child of the Grove by Tanya Huff. This is book 1 in a series because I originally grabbed what was book 2. It said the sequel to The Child of the Grove, so then I looked, saw I happened to have this, so here we are. Genesis. In the beginning there was darkness, and out of the darkness came the mother. From her flesh she formed the earth. With her tears she filled the sea and lakes and rivers. She walked upon her creation. Where she passed grew grasses, trees, and flowers. Her breath became the winds. With her right hand she created all animals that run and swim and fly. With her left hand she created all animals that slither and sting. Her laughter became the song of birds. Next we have The Gallic War by Julius Caesar, one that I really want to get to. Skip past all this introduction. Get to the beginning of the Gallic War. The first book, 58 BC, War against the Helvetii, Ariovistus, and the Germans. The whole of Gaul is divided into 3 parts, one of which the Belgae inhabit, the Aquitani another, and the third a people who in their own language are called Celts, but ours Gauls. They all differ among themselves in respect of language, way of life, and laws. The river Garonne divides the Gauls from the Aquitani, and the Marne and Seine rivers separate them from the Belgae. Of these three, the Belgae are the bravest, for they are the furthest away from the civilization and culture of the province. Merchants rarely travel to them or import such goods as make men's courage weak and womanish. They live, moreover, in close proximity to the Germans who inhabit the land across the Rhine, and they are continually at war with them. For this reason, the Helvetii also exceed the other Gauls in bravery, because they are embroiled in almost daily battles with the Germans, either when they are warding them off from their own frontiers, or when they themselves take the fight into enemy territory. The land which the Gauls are said to occupy begins at the river Rhone and is bounded by the Garonne, the ocean, and the territory of the Belgae. The part of it is inhabited by the Sequani and the Helvetii, reaches to the Rhine. This land has one frontier to the north. The Belgae come from the most distant regions of Gaul. Their lands extend to the lower part of the Rhine, facing north and east. Aquitania reaches from the Garonne to the Pyrenees, and that part of the ocean nearest Spain, it faces northwest. And so I'm saving two big hitters for the end. So first, we have The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. If you haven't heard of John Gwynne, he is all the rage right now, it seems, on BookTube as a very, very highly esteemed fantasy author. Chapter 1, Orca, the year 297 of Frithrold, the Age of Peace. Death is a part of life, Orca whispered into her son's ear. Even though Brecca's arm was drawn back, the ash spear gripped tight in his small, white-knuckled fist, and the spearhead aimed at the reindeer in front of them. She could see the hesitation in his eyes and the set of his jaw. And last, but certainly far from least, The Essential Conan by Robert E. Howard. So this begins with the Hour of the Dragon. So that'll be where I am reading out of. And if this is the one that wins, that is the one that I will commit to reading for July, not necessarily all of them. Chapter 1, O Sleeper, Awake. The long tapers flickered, sending the black shadows wavering along the walls, and the velvet tapestries rippled, yet there was no wind in the chamber. 4 men stood about the ebony table on which lay the green sarcophagus that gleamed like carven jade. In the upraised right hand of each man, a curious black candle burned with a weird greenish light. Outside was night and a lost wind moaning among the black trees. So there you have it. Let me know in the comments down below, which of these 10, I will have them listed in order in case you forgot which happened in which order, which of these 10 stood out to you? And then come back Thursday for my TBR to find out which one of these 10 wins and is placed on my July TBR. Thank you for watching.